It's approved. I just got it today, so.
Platting Municipality of Anchorage Platting Board will now come to order for the July 1st, 2015 meeting. May we have roll call?
Mr. Abel?
Here.
Mr. Fuller?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Present.
Mr. Walker?
Present.
Ms. Enix? Here. Mr. Porter?
Here.
Mr. Cross?
Here.
Mr. Cole and Mr. Edmondson have been excused. Thank you.
And do we have any agenda changes? Seeing no agenda changes, we have an action summary from June 3rd, 2015. May we have a motion to approve the action summary from June 3rd, 2015? Dan Young moves, and Ken Fuller seconds. Any opposition to approving the action summary as presented? Seeing none, the motion passes. Next, the minutes from June 3rd, 2015. Do we have Dan Young has moved to approve the minutes as presented. Kevin Cross seconds. Any opposition to approving the minutes as drafted? Seeing none, the motion passes. Next, special order of businesses. Are there any disclosures to be made for tonight's hearing? Dan Young.
Yes, in the case S12172 Allen Combs subdivision, I was looking at the application and didn't see any potential conflicts or disclosure, but tonight I see Mr. Anderson in the audience, who I've worked with on other projects. I have not worked on this project, and I don't perceive that I have any conflict. I can be fair and impartial. I have no financial gain or any other gain to participate in this.
Thank you. May we have a motion directing Mr. Young to participate in case S12172? Kevin Cross has moved, and Christina Enix has seconded. Mr. Cross, would you please speak to your motion?
Since Mr. Young has expressed he has no financial interest in this particular matter, as well as that he can give fair and impartial judgment, I move that he participate in the hearing.
Thank you. Any other statements anyone wishes to make? Is there any opposition to the motion? Seeing none, the motion passes. Dan Young, you are directed to participate in case S12172. Are there any other disclosures? Seeing none, the next item of business is the informational items. There are abbreviated plat summary, action summaries from June 8th, June 15th, and June 22nd in the packet. We'll next move to the public hearing process. The procedure by which the public may speak to the Platting Board at its meeting is, after the staff presentation is completed on public hearing items, the chair will ask for public testimony on the issue. Persons who wish to testify will follow the time limits established in the Commission Rules of Procedure. Petitioners, including all their representatives, have 10 minutes. Part of their time may be reserved for rebuttal. Representatives of groups, community councils, PTAs, etc. have 5 minutes. Individuals have 3 minutes. When your testimony is complete, you may be asked questions by the board. You may only testify once on an issue unless questioned by the board. Any individual may have appeal rights relating to any action the Platting Board takes. Appeal of the decision or any of the conditions is governed by AMC 21.11.304. The decision of the Board at this scheduled public hearing becomes final 7 calendar days after the date the decision is made on the record. Unless a written request is submitted to the Planning Division prior to the expiration of the 7th day to prepare a written decision based upon the record made at the hearing, and the request is accompanied by a written notice of intent to appeal. Adoption of the written decisions by the Platting Board becomes final. The final appealable decision within 20 days of the final appealable decision. An interested party must file with the municipal clerk either a written motion alleging new evidence or changed circumstances pursuant to AMC 21.11.503, or an appeal of the Board's final appealable decision under AMC 2130. We will now take up the matter of S12172, Houghton, Christopher and Ginger Houghton. May we have staff's presentation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for modification of a restrictive plat note for Plat 2008-129, note number 8, which states the alternate drain fields for Lot 1 shall require the use of an MOA-approved Category 3 nitrate-reducing advanced wastewater system. Wastewater systems for Lot 2 shall be Category 3 nitrate-reducing. The petitioner wishes to replace the existing language of Plat Note Number 8 with the following. The alternate drain fields for Lot 1 shall require the use of an MOA-approved Category 3 nitrate-reducing advanced wastewater system. Jeff Garness, P.E., worked on the subdivision at the time it was platted in 2008. He states that he provided an email in 2008 to the MOA that noted platted drain fields for Lot 2 were required. However, he also states that made a statement requiring however, no statement was made requiring an advanced wastewater treatment system. In 2015, Mike Anderson conducted a secondary study of the property. His report states that test holes placed on Lot 2 indicate the presence of clean sand and gravel with some silt to depths of 16 feet. No groundwater or bedrock was encountered. His conclusion is that a standard gravity flow system could be placed in the property. Deb Walkenfuss from the MOA on-site water and wastewater department states that research into the original subdivision did not reveal any evidence that the department required a Category 3 advanced wastewater treatment system for Lot 2. She concludes that she has no objection to the plat note modification. As two independent professional engineers and a municipal on-site water and wastewater department have determined that there is no reasonable evidence that a Category 3 advanced wastewater treatment system should be located on Lot 2, staff recommends approval of this request for modification of note number 8. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? Seeing none, we'll now take the petitioner's presentation. Please state your name for the record and let us know whether you're going to reserve any time for rebuttal.
My name is Mike Anderson with Anderson Engineering. I was hired by Chris Houghton, the owner of the property, to design a septic system so that he could get a permit to build a new residential structure on the property. And in the review of the record, I found that there was a note on the plat that required a Category 3 nitrate reducing system on Lot 2. And so we did some further investigation as to why this was necessary, because we had done test holes up there. That pretty much indicated that there was plenty of room for a standard septic system, and the surface conditions were pretty much good enough to allow for a standard septic system. So in the discovery we did to uncover why the note was on the plat, we found a memo from Jeff Garness indicating that there's a stream that goes through the property. There's also a well in the middle of the property, which restricts the area available for a septic system. So the only reason I could see why they would want Category 3 nitrate reducing systems is because of the lack of area available for a septic system. A Category 3 system has a footprint for its absorption area about 1/4 the size of a standard system. Now that applied only to Lot 1 because there was already a system in place on Lot 1 that was constructed in 2005, 3 years prior to the subdivision. This was a standard septic system. There was no requirement for Category 3 at that time. But it did take up a substantial area on that lot. So according to the municipal ordinance governing subdivisions, you have to show a minimum area separate for septic system development or design 3 separate systems on each lot. In order to put 3 separate systems on Lot 1, he had to go with the nitrate reducing system because of the smaller footprint, which allowed much less area for use for the septic system. Lot 2 was not restricted at all. There's plenty of room on there for a standard septic system and no reason why a Category 3 system would be required. It appears that as they got closer and closer to recording the plat, there was some discussion about the Category 3 systems, and at the last moment, either the surveyor or someone changed the plat note to state that nitrate reducing systems were required on Lot 2 as well as the alternate sites on Lot 1. So it appears that neither the engineer of record on the subdivision development didn't want the note on there, nor did the city specifically, but it did somehow get on there. No one seems to know why. So I'll reserve the rest of my time.
Thank you. You have 7 minutes and 16 seconds for rebuttal. Any questions for the petitioner's representative? Dan Young.
Okay, I think I have just one question. So, Mr. Anderson, on Lot 2, there's adequate room for the reserve systems as well as the primary system?
Yes, there are. And according to Jeff Garness, when he originally drew up the requirements for the subdivision, he showed 3 standard gravity flow trenches on that lot.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now we'll open it up to public testimony. Are there any members of the public wishing to testify? Anyone at all? Would you like to use any of your rebuttal time?
Don't need to.
Thank you. We'll now close the hearing, and the matter now rests with the board. May I hear a motion approving the request for modification of the restrictive plat note number 8? Dan Young moves. Would you state your motion?
Yes, in the case of S12172, I move for approval of the request for modification of the restrictive plat note number 8 from plat 2008-129 to state, quote, the alternate drain field for lot 1 shall require the use of a MOA-approved Category 3 nitrate-reducing advanced wastewater system, end quote, which is stated on page 4 of our packet.
Thank you. And that motion has been seconded by Christina Enix. Would you speak to your motion, Mr. Young?
Yes, I intend to support my motion. And what I find here is that Mr. Garness found that a system, a gravity-fed system, could work on Lot 2, and that's what we're changing on the restrictive plat note. Mr. Anderson, both Mr. Garness and Mr. Anderson are professional engineers who specialize in designing these systems, and both of them have stated that a normal gravity-fed system would work Lot 2. The staff found that this would work on Lot 2, and there's no findings that would suggest otherwise. So based on those findings, I'm going to support this motion.
Thank you. Any other comments, either for or against this motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Seeing no opposition, the motion passes. Are there any persons to be heard before the board? Are there any reports? Any board member comments? The board shall be adjourned at 6:45.